Pogostemon Sampsonii is such a cool plant, and I'm happy to have gotten it in, like, I don't know, about 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, and I've kind of been messing around with it for a little while now. I've been growing it, propagating it. If you're looking for the setup video, I'll post that up here. You guys can check that out if you like. But this is more about the propagation and dealing with it over time. Initially, when I was reading about this plant, most of the reports were it will grow kind of tall, but anything over a foot, no way. This thing is only going to grow 5 to maybe 12 inches at most. And clearly, I've eclipsed that marker here with the Pogostemon Sampsonii that I'm currently growing. As you can see, once it matures, it grows into a great looking stalk and becomes quite tall. Now, some people I talked to said, look out, this plant grows super fast, just like some of the other Pogostemon that you have. And while that might be true for some people, I haven't found that to be 100% accurate in my setups. It has been growing. I would kind of give it a medium pace. It's not a super aggressively growing plant. It's actually kind of growing at what I would consider to be a fairly enjoyable rate. And it's not growing as if it's trying to get out of the tank like some stem plants that I have. Over the years, I've definitely found a lot of stem plants that just want to grow up, get into the air, and grow up out of the water. You know, of course, there's a lot of pond plants that do that too, like lilies. You know, they're trying to throw their lily pads up real quick. I think that would be something that's kind of an easy, relatable plant that I think a lot of people have, of going like, oh, why is it trying to get to the top so fast? But other plants that I have, like Alternanthera or Ranechii, it's like trying to get out of the tank. It's trying to get that air, trying to get that CO2 and grow up out of the water. But I have not personally found that to be the case with this plant. It seems to want to grow up to the light and then kind of hang out. So that is definitely a bonus. But I'm noticing in my tanks that it is hitting this like 20-inch mark, not 10 inches or 12 inches. It's growing much taller than that, which is fine. That just means I have to make some minor adjustments. The adjustments I'm making are moving this to the back of the tank. I can't have this be in the middle, sort of where I have it now. I have it kind of in the medium middle back area, but I'm having to relocate it all the way to the back. The propagation of this plant is pretty simple. It's not that difficult. It's a lot like a lot of other stem plants in the fact that you're going to trim the top, maybe 8-inch portion, maybe 10-inch portion off, and replant that. That will become its own plant. Now we have to deal with the stuff that is left over. Initially, I was just going to pull and trim all of the tops off and replant those in the back and allow the base to resprout more. But I did find that it already had sprouted a fair bit down there, and it was going to leave a really kind of ugly, not aesthetic bunch of roots down there. Because down at the base of the plant, it's going to continue to throw roots that start out sort of aerial roots, maybe 2 to 3 inches up off of the substrate. It's actually dropping roots down into the substrate to continue to spread out. And I haven't been able to find in any of my kind of research looking around whether or not this plant exists in a floodplain or not, because I would normally see that type of rooting behavior from a plant that is in a floodplain, meaning that at some point in time throughout the year the water's going to drop significantly and then raise back up at some point in time. You think monsoon season or something like that. But through my research, I haven't been able to figure out exactly if that is the case where this comes from, because there's very limited documentation of this plant. Pogostemon Sampsonii is a really cool plant that comes from warmer climates, but it does reach around the planet. I mean, it's in Africa, it's in Asia, it's in Australia, as there are a bunch of subspecies. Sampsonii is one of the subspecies. I haven't been able to find a lot of documentation or papers about it, but knowing that it comes from some of those environments, you know that it's going to dry out at some point in time. And a lot of people have grown this plant immersed, but they're saying that one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is have a really high level of humidity, which means that it probably does come from some kind of floodplain, likely, but I can't verify that. So I'm hoping this, maybe somebody has an article or something like that they could pass on to me. If you do, leave a comment down below, because I'm really interested in trying to figure that out. I have grown a couple little pieces immersed at this point, but nothing really dramatic at this point to say like, yeah, that's something you can do or not do. But I have grown a bunch of I guess sproutlets, little baby plants in sumps by adding plant weights to them and just throwing them down in some of my sumps, which is one of the big advantageous usages of having a sump on a freshwater aquarium like this, is that I do have a lot of extra space for plants down there, and of course I have plant lights and everything down there for that. I'm really having a good time dealing with this plant. This is clearly going to be one of those plants that I'm going to be dealing with long term. I'm going to have this plant for a really long time, mainly because of the vibrant green of it, the ease of growing it. I mean, it's really quite easy to grow, and the shape of the leaves. It has a pretty distinctive sort of sawtooth edge to the leaves and stuff, which I think is quite nice. You don't see that with a lot of stem plants. Although it is kind of common in the aquarium hobby, but you don't see that with a lot of stem plants just all around that can be used in conjunction with a lot of other plants. Most of them that have that need some real kind of specific water, and I'm happy to be messing around with this plant and keep it rocking and rolling for a long time. Hey, if you like this video, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, the like button, the join button, all of that crazy stuff that you're supposed to do when you show up to YouTube, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. I think you get it. I think you know what's up. Bye for now. Back again soon. My coffee. Oh, it's ice cold.